World Championship.
It's
As we
also
see the first drivers making their way out for qualifying.
one of those drivers will win today.
Now, as we look at the
Alright.
championship standings, we do see that Andy leads the championship by a significant margin with only a few more rounds to go. Do you think anyone else has a shot at catching him before the season's up?
Not really. The other drivers are starting to fall behind the pack. Look at Andy, like slowing down right now to let others by. But yeah,
Now, the first driver to
Andy,
cross the line for qualifying, Man Pifting, starting his lap.
Andy and Man 15 are the ones going to run away from the championship if this form continues. So I think Andy can seal. Uh, I think he can seal the championship in about 2 rounds as well. So pretty much the only favorite to win, as everyone is starting their qualifying laps, as you said.
Now, Man Pifting setting the first sector one. Mark takes purple, and it looks like no one's going to dethrone him at the moment.
I think Mark is also one of the championship drivers, but he's been out of form a bit lately compared to the X21 cars.
They're definitely going to need to find some more pace at Envision if they want a shot at this title with only 5 more rounds remaining. Wait, how many rounds are left? I'm never stupid.
I think there are 2 more rounds left, but
Oh, it's Jover.
yeah. Anyway, Mark Anthony is rounding off his lap along with Man 15, who started his lap the first. They're now crossing the line. The first few laps in qualifying will now get completed.
Mark takes
Mark is
P1
taking
as
P1.
drivers fill in behind him. Meonington P2. Skilled Baconhead takes P2 from him. So we see Bacon's taking
Bacon's
P2
P2.
crossing line.
But Hyper,
Hyper with a very quick lap, purple in sector 3, and he takes second. But
look
here
at
comes
Andy with the
Andy,
quicker
who
one.
takes by 2/100ths of a second over Mark Anthony. The
Andy and
first
Mark
lap's
are running away with it
qualifying
right
done.
now.
Andy, your championship leader, back up at the front, and Milo heads to P3, 3/10ths off of the leader.
Yeah, the top two are running away from the others a bit. But that was just the first lap. Now there are going to be about 4 or 5 more. This will be the second lap at the moment after they complete this little out lap.
And we see Hazard on his lap currently, a very slow sector 1. He's trying to improve all he can. Currently sits in
It's in
P11,
the wall.
almost 1.1 seconds off of the leader. It's been a struggle for many of these drivers, especially with the controversy involving Sector 3 of this racetrack. It will be revamped at the end of the season, so this is the final race with this current configuration at this racetrack. Speed Hazard crossed the line, improves only up to P10.
It's been a tough season for Hazard. I'm pretty sure it's DNF most of the time, but he still has a good
Now,
team in
Mark Anthony,
F21.
P2 at the moment, starting
And
his
he was
lap. We'll see
wide.
if he can
He was
improve.
running a bit wide. But still, I think that's okay. That's allowed. Only a bit wide.
Now, Mark Anthony through the
They
first
both
few
have to hold his
corners.
lap. On board with Indy right now. I think he just started his lap the provisional pole sitter. And he's had to correct there a bit. Lost some time there, but it's a good exit. As perfect as can be. Hugging the inside here, crossing the sector 1 line soon. Still making it goes purple, first sector. As we say that. And Andy can only improve on his personal best, not like Skill Baconhead, who has the fastest sector 1 at the moment. Still on board with Andy, going through these corners. and this tough left-hander, and now into an even tougher chicane. Very awkward
Mark
this one,
Anthony
especially on the
has
exit. You don't
aborted the
know how
lap.
to
Mark
time his
Anthony has
acceleration
aborted
here,
his lap.
and now it's an unpredictable downhill corner, which Andy takes very well. Still, Baconhead can still improve on his lap. He can still go pole to second. Sector that is green for Skill Baconhead. He only goes to third though, as Andy will now cross the line. He had a purple second sector. Andy goes a bit wide on the last corner, but it wasn't where the controversy stands. But crosses the line now, and he improves it further by a
And he
tenth.
improves up to a 14-0, increasing the gap. We saw Mark Anthony just a few seconds ago aborting his lap. He radioed to his crew that he made a mistake and it was not worth using up the soft tires anymore. And this leaves Andy with a much larger margin into second place.
That's some drivers are underperforming, some drivers are really overperforming. I think one of them is still Baconhead out there today. He had a purple first sector, great qualifying for him so far. And HD Muro, who's usually not supposed to be in in this place at P8, but he still managed to be here as Guan as well as P9. He's beating Bennington and play games again with a horrible qualifying in P11 so far, but there's still 5 minutes left in the session. Anything can happen.
So, how important is track position on the grid for the start of the race? Because we know that overtakes can get very difficult with slipstream trains forming at many different racetracks. How important is getting pole position for this race?
It's very important. The dirty air is quite horrendous around here, and you really have to be a god in predicting the dirty air to be able to meander to the field. So yeah, it's pretty important. The track position is very much needed around here. And Gio's doing something awkward. We just saw there.
Mark
I think
Anthony
Mark's
improving on his
yep,
first
Mark
sector
improved.
time.
We were just going on board with him. Not on board, but uh, having the TV pointed at him.
And Vision Racing still searching for the pace to catch up to Andy and Van Pifting. Currently sitting P2 on the grid.
Oh, that's a bit wide from Mark. Not the chicane he wanted. Is that going to hamper his lap time? This right-hander that's a perfect exit, but yeah, he still improves though. That's nice. Heading into the last few corners in sector 3.
Very
Managing very
crucial, these corners.
well. Oh, goes a
Really
bit wide
wide.
down the last corner, but is that track limits? I don't think that is a track
As it
limits for
stands, no
violation.
penalty, and he does
He
not
can't
improve
improve
with a
though.
slow sector 3.
Yeah, I think he was struggling a bit there at the end. 4 minutes left in the session, and now I think Hyper's. Yeah, no, never mind. Thought Hyper was being impeded by Hazard, but that's not the case. Mians are currently improving 2 green sectors, and he just goes P10. I think the last sector is a really pressure zone for these guys. They're really unable to do anything about it as Hyper goes a bit wide, but that's on his out lap at the last corner. He's gonna start his lap now. Is that going to be a track limits violation?
Now we see Hyperboss entering turn 1. He's had a very quiet season this year. After being moved up from D2 in a very controversial move by the FRL officials, he's somewhat held his own in Division 1 and looked like a very solid threat for some good finishes.
I think it's a rookie season D1, and everyone's rookie season D1 is usually not that good. Apart from Light and Rillo, who's not attending today, but he had a stellar first season. But I think that was to be expected considering how many world records he has on the main game. Hyper, I'm pretty sure he's second in the rookie standings if we had something like that, but oh well.
Hyper improves on his first sector time. Now he hits the wall just barely off of that corner.
I
Struggling
think
for
hit the wall
grip.
again.
Improves though on his sector 2. Only one more sector to go, and he could possibly move up in position even more.
But he goes wide. But
For
that's
the
not
final
track
two
limits violation,
corners,
I don't think.
barely keeping it in the track limits. What will it be?
Why is he going across the start? That's going to lose a
Crossing the
bit more
line,
time, but
and he's
still
up to
second.
P2. What a lap by Hyperboss Red in sector 3,
It's a red
but he still
third
managed to
sector.
improve.
Red third
Absolute,
sector. How much can he improve?
absolutely amazing lap. And could he threaten Indy for pole. Now the final drivers coming out of the pit lane to start their final qualifying laps. Pit lane is getting crowded with so many drivers trying to get laps in before the end of qualifying.
What? Andy's disconnected for some reason. It shows on the leaderboard.
Oh no! What has happened?
What happened?
We need to know who's going to come out in front. As we see Hyperboss hitting the wall one more time.
Oh yeah, and as it stands, it's in America, third and sixth. Go America, even though
The
it's
American team of Envision Racing, Mark Anthony and It's Code Bacons, both trying to fly their freedom flags through Lodic Hill and currently holding on very well. And Andy's back,
Andy's
but
back.
it's too late. He won't have enough time to make an outlap and start a lap.
I mean,
Andy
he can still run
will be
wide
stuck
around
with
the
this
last corner.
14-0.
But can anyone beat him though? Young.
Oh, someone's in the barriers in turn one. A big
What
shunt.
happened? What happened?
What has happened? Skilled Baconhead has hit the barriers in turn one.
That's his qualifying over.
It's qualifying over for Skilled Baconhead.
But now the final laps are coming again. Everyone's crossing the start-finish line. Everyone is nearing the third sector. You can see this train here. Maybe someone can impede one another, but I don't think so. Young is now completing his lap. This will be
HD
qualifying
Mir,
over.
red in sector one. Man Pifting improves.
On the first sector.
Hyperboss red through first sector.
Now.
Man Pifting still improving. Then Mark Anthony is wide.
The checkered flag will fall now.
And Mark Anthony has aborted his lap. He will not go for pole position.
Man Pifting now. He's going to cross the second sector line soon. What will it be? I think it could be a red. It is a red second sector. Uh-oh. I think Man Pifting is to settle for P5.
It's Code Bacon's improving through the first sector. Hyperboss improving through the second sector. Play Games is up. Young is up. Could this be a disaster for Mark Anthony?
And he can't improve. Man Pifting still for P5. Hyper's at the barriers at the last corner.
In the final sector, but could not improve and stays P5. Bacon's a slow sector too.
Third sector is going to be very treacherous for these guys.
Now, through the final few corners comes It's Called Bacon's. Play Games up to P6. Where will Bacon's go? He does not improve.
Nowhere. P7. And Milo's down the last guy, but he's
the final car left on the racetrack. As it stands, it's Andy, Hyperboss, Mark Anthony, Skilled Baconhead, and Man Pifting, your top five. Now, Milo, he's wide in the final corner. He's in the barriers. And that'll be a track limits violation. And he does not improve.
Anyway.
That's the end of qualifying. On pole, Andy, your championship leader. What a lap by Hyperboss to get into the second position. Very impressive from him. And a great showing in his rookie year.
But Hyper said he doesn't want to race. Now, the strategy is going to be important. Do you want grip on your first few laps to avoid much lack of grip in the dirty air, or do you want to go a bit for the long run, which will certainly help you in the latter half of this race?
As it stands, the top 8 on medium tires. The rest of the field starting on softs. Bacon starting on softs. And it's lights out and away we go here in Race Park Lodic Hill. Hyperboss gets a good start. Mark Anthony in the mix. Andy still leads. But here comes Hyperboss. Andy's falling down. Andy's losing time. What has happened? Andy's had a horrible start.
I think it was he might have been a bit late on the throttle pedal.
Andy with a terrible start, losing 4 positions across the line. Now Hyperboss leads the Race Park Lodic Hill Grand Prix. Here comes Skilled Baconhead. Side by side through the first sector. Hyperboss pulls out ahead. It's so close through these first few corners. Andy's dropping even more down into P9. What has happened? It's a disaster. Mark Anthony up to P2. Man Pifting in third. Hyperboss losing time on these leaders. It's called Bacon's and Hazard both making up time on the soft tires.
Still a good fight for the lead here. Heading to sector 3, Mark Anthony might take the lead. There's a bit of a dirty advantage to these corners, but not too much. You can still gain by yourself. And I think it's going to be Mark who leads off the corner, heading into lap 2.
Heading into the first sector, Mark Anthony still in P1. Bacon's with the fastest lap on that opening lap, using those soft tires to his advantage. Now through the first few corners, Skilled Baconhead taking a narrow line, Mark going wide, and that gives Skilled Baconhead the lead through the first few corners. There's still 3 abreast heading down this straight.
4 abreast. Bacon's in second place.
It's called Bacon's using the
It's an
soft tires to his
America
advantage, and
2-3.
he's making up even more ground. This is an amazing start for Division Racing.
America 2-3. Skilled Baconhead has to fend them off.
Meanwhile, Endy up into P3 just for a moment, dropping back down to P5 as we see the order still moving around a lot through these first few corners.
And another driver. Andy's stopped on track, but I think
Oh
he's having
no!
connection issues a bit. He just got back. He's now in
Endy
P4.
struggling up into P4, but still
By
trying
the
to make up
way,
that ground he lost on the start.
his teammate Man 15 is outside the top 10 now. They're 71 are running a horrible race so far.
Now, through
Is
the
this going to
final
be the
corner,
tire?
just give me a second, Brundle. Young, through the final corner, has
Hello.
gotten his first track limits violation warning.
Track limits, a really key factor in this race so far. As we see,
It's code
Andy having
Bacon's
to
pulling the
battle,
gap on the soft tires through the first few corners.
and he's having to battle with the Ferran racing cars owned by Bacon's.
Now
And
Endy's
now he will lose
trying
the
to
race.
stay in the slipstream of HD Mirror up in front, but HD Mirror makes a mistake, and that's going to give Endy the chance to get back into the slipstream of these top 3.
And Bacon is running away with it, 3.5 tenths.
Nearly half a second gap to Skilled Baconhead behind.
Now 4.5. It's a Bacon's 1-2, if you think about it.
Now half a second to Skilled Baconhead. Bacon's on these soft tires, driving beautifully on these opening laps.
Andy's P4 now, trying to catch up to this lead pack. He's done wonderful to come back in this race, even though it is only the 3rd lap. He was
Now Bacon's
being
taking a
high,
defensive line through this front straightaway, trying to break the slipstream. He's going to need to weave like crazy if he wants to maintain his gap.
and he was just P6 momentarily, P7 momentarily ago. Now he's up to P3 almost. He's currently in that
The
battle as
slipstream
Bacon's.
with these current regulations of cars is absolutely massive, very comparable to DRS in Formula One. It's very hard to make the slipstream when you're in front, and you have to really push to keep cars behind.
Dirty air is strong as well. It's an adverse effect. You can see that as to the corners, Mark Anthony loses a lot more time to Bacon's.
Those soft tires are really helping Bacon's here. A lot more mechanical grip than what Mark Anthony can get on his tires. The 2 teammates leading the field today. Very strong start for Envision Racing.
Now 6.5 tenths is again Bacon's has a lot of grip on those soft tires. I'm wondering when will it run out though, because it's lap 4 now. I think in about 2 laps time, Bacon will start losing time to the guys behind.
We've seen
That's where
tire wear
these
play a
races
big
go.
role in this series so far this season, and the soft tires have proven to be very poor on the longer stints. So we'll see how long Bacon's can hold onto this lead, or if he'll go for
Look
an
how much
undercut
Mark gains.
early.
Look how much Mark
Now the
gains
2
through there.
teammates closing in on each other. Mark Anthony with more grip now. He's got those medium tires fired up, and he is charging for the lead of this Grand Prix. Bacon's is wide. Here comes Mark Anthony. Mark Anthony takes the first position. Bacon's making a crucial mistake. Bacon's struggling for grip already on only lap 5. Bacon's nearly wide once again, struggling for grip. Envision Racing, a 1-2 still, but now Andy and Skilled Baconhead are right there. Any mistake from these top two, and Skilled Bacon Head and Andy could easily take victory.
I think Baconhead is having double dirty air now. Starting the sixth lap soon. I think Bacon's might pit around lap 10 or lap 11, then go on the medium tires
Bacons and
because
Mark
of the
Anthony
way
are
it's wearing out.
they're neck and neck into the first corner. Envision Racing putting on an amazing show for us here at the start of this Grand
Bacon's
Prix.
back in the lead. Bacon's is back in the lead after that slipstream down the straight.
Now we see Mian in P5 trying to hold on to the slipstream of these cars in front. He may be able to. It's about a 1 second gap. He'll need to put together some good laps to hold on to the slipstream of the top four.
I think he still has it, but he's barely hanging on right now.
Meanwhile, Play Games behind him, even larger gap from him to Mian. So Mian right now is on an island on his own. If he can hold on to the slipstream of these top four, he could secure P5 away from Play Games and Kuhan charging behind him.
Still a four-way fight for the lead, but barely. Bacon's just gained more time now. I think the mediums are now starting to fall off.
Skilled
And down the
Baconhead
straight,
making a small mistake.
look at the
And we see
gap from Bacon's and Mark.
Man Pifting's in the pits. The first driver to
Man
box.
Pifting early pit stop. Man Pifting, he was struggling on those tires. He was down to outside the top 10, but now he's going to pit very early in this
Man
race.
Pifting switching onto the soft tires. He's going for an undercut on the cars in front of him.
Huge
We'll see how
undercut.
that works out for him.
Bacon's still in the lead.
Meanwhile, the lead battle. Bacon still in front.
Good Indy now charging up to Mark Anthony. I think the medium tires are now working better for Indy, and now heading up this hill, Indy might have a chance to pounce at Mark Anthony. He's suddenly level with him, heading into the chicane. Oh, I think Bacon's going to pit
Andy,
wide, but it's at a compromised line for the next corner. And he's
now
now going to
side by
overtake
side.
Mark barely.
Andy overtaking Mark Anthony. They're going to
Oh
be
no, he's
side by
gone a
side
bit
heading
wide
to
on the
sector
end.
3.
Envision still barely hanging on to a 1-2. I think
Oh
Mark made a
no!
mistake.
Mark
Corner cut it.
Anthony's slow. What has happened?
Corner cut for Mark in that corner, not what he needed. Now he's behind Skilled Baconhead, but his teammate still leads by 3/10.
That is how fine the margins are here in Formula ROBLOX. One small mistake and you can lose seconds of time, and that's going to cost Mark Anthony
Hyper's in.
hugely.
Hyper's in. The guy who started
Hyper,
P2 is now in.
second car to jump on new tires. He switches onto the softs.
And now look at Andy and Bacon's fighting with the lead. I think Andy just corner cut it. Andy has lost 7/10. Oh no, that's just a connection issue. Andy's back in
Now
the lead, boys.
Andy and Bacon's side by side. Andy is clear. Andy to P1
Bacon,
after a horrible start, back to the front.
Bacon should look to pit soon now. After that, it's a sign that he's basically going to wane away for the rest of this stint.
Those soft tires struggling. He needs new rubber if he wants to stay in this fight. We'll see how long Envision waits to put him in the box.
Oh, but he's back in the lead. I think Andy made a mistakes, and he still might. Andy goes a bit wider through there. Flat has joined us as Bacon's takes back the lead, but he's now vulnerable to the slipstream that he's giving away to Andy.
Now more cars boxing. Mian is in, Kuhan, Milo, Hazard, and 16 Rise.
The soft
Very
tires are not
busy
going
in
to
the
fit
pit
in.
lane. It looks like most of them are taking soft tires. Nearly all drivers taking soft. 16 Rise goes on to the mediums. But other than that, everyone's going for this fresh soft rubber to try to get a big undercut. And Man
It's just
Pifting,
like a
with that
pit stop
undercut,
racing.
sets the fastest lap of the race at 1:14.4.
He's getting a lot of time. Look, he's P9 now. He was in the dumps earlier, but now he's back in the top 10 as the lead battle heats up. Andy's going to
Man
take back the
Pifting,
lead barely.
if you watch the gap, you can see he is gaining chunks of time on these elitas, tenths every corner, he could have a massive undercut and maybe even get into the lead fight.
Sandy versus Bacon's right now for the first place position, but will Bacon's pit in after this lap? I think he certainly needs to.
Mark Anthony losing
Will
touch with
Bacon's
those top
going.
two, fighting with Skilled Bacon head for P3.
Will Bacon's go
Now
in?
Andy boxes and Bacon
And he
stays
goes
out
in.
on the soft tires. Andy
The
jumping on the
opposite. The
undercut.
opposite of what we were expecting.
The opposites of what we thought was going to happen. H71 Steel Issue Humongous Racing making a big call to try to get in front of its called Bacons.
Muir is also in. Gio is also in.
Andy switching onto the soft tires. And
So
he'll come out in
Bacon's.
front of his teammate Man Pifting.
I think this is a good advantage to Bacon's. That means Andy has really short cut on his tires, but Bacon's has pretty much lasted slightly longer
Now,
than his
could
actual
Bacons
life
possibly go
tires.
for an alternate strategy? We've seen him stay out very long on these soft tires. Could he possibly go and be going for a different strategy than the rest of the field?
I think he needs to go to the mediums after this stint, then back to the softs, because I think that will really work out
Well, we'll see
to
what the
against
envisioned
Andy.
Let's see what the envisioned team principal thinks about the soft tires.
Who was the Envision team principal again? I haven't been keeping in touch. I think it's done, right? My bad. As there's a battle for P2 for between Mark and
Bacon
Skull. Bacon has
staying out of the
they
box.
still say
Baconhead, Mark Anthony. They're trying to extend the stints to get better tires on the next one.
they still stay
Says the
out.
Bacon's
Lap
radioing
11.
to his crew. He says tires feel okay currently. At the current pace, Bacon's
Ow.
thinks he can manage.
But if you look at the gap right now, Andy's gained about 5 seconds on these guys on his
We
new
have to
tires.
remember, with such high tire wear, the overcuts could be a very viable strategy. If he can manage to get back in slipstream on new rubber, he could possibly go for the lead once again. And this time, he'd have a tire advantage over Andy.
I don't think these tires really feel okay though, because if you look, Andy's gained about 7 seconds now.
I think the drivers know more than you do, Mr. Brundle.
Ouch. Anyway, let's see if it really does
Your
work out
time
for
in
Bacon.
Formula Roblox has long since passed.
And when did your time start? Anyway, enough beef
Hey,
between the
I got
commentators.
2P7s in D2 East, okay? I scored like
Anyway,
30 points in my career. That's pretty much GOAT status.
it's not about us. It's about these guys who are racing. Anyway, and oh, Bacon is in.
Now Bacon's is
Bacon is
in. Now we need to watch the delta to Endy. Will he be able to stay in the slipstream of Endy? Now Bacon's switching onto the medium tires, an alternate
Yep, that's what I
strategy.
expected.
And there we see Endy passing him. He's lost loads of time.
And he's
Can he regain it
14.3 on
back?
his fastest lap.
Now Bacon's all the way to the back of the field. He has a lot of positions to make up.
Andy has been
Bacon's
super
all the
fast on
way
his new
down
tires
to
as well.
P10 after that pit stop. Oh, Endy's already back on the P4.
Yep,
Meanwhile, at the
that's what I
front,
thought, a
Mark
huge gap.
Anthony and Skilled Baconhead still battling for position as Play Games sits P3, the only other driver to not have boxed yet.
Bacon has a lot of catching up to do, but these fresh tires, I think they'll cut to the field very soon.
Something just radioed in. Hyperboss has retired from the race. Hyperboss has retired.
No,
According to the team, it is a fuel pump issue.
such a good qualifying. It's been sacrificed in the race.
After a very good run in qualifying, looking promising, trying to score points in his rookie season, it comes to an end after a fuel pump issue forces him to retire the car.
He did say he didn't want to race. He had a bad feeling about the car, but
A
he has retired
poor
now.
run for Farron Henrik Motorsports, trying to establish
prays to
themselves
God.
as one of the top teams.
He prays to God to win the next race. Oh, Skill Baconhead. Huge mistake. He's lost a
Oh no,
lot of time to Mark.
he's lost nearly a second. Mark Anthony's pulling away, but don't count out Endy. He's already within 10 seconds of the leaders.
And by the way, I don't mean to. I don't think it's too much, but Play Games is now P3, just 2.7 behind these guys.
You gotta remember, Play Games has not boxed as well. He's still on his first set of tires, so he'll need to pit soon. The real threat is Endy, who's only 8 seconds behind. He's gaining loads of time every lap. He set the fastest lap, and now he's down to 7.7 seconds. Endy is closing rapidly.
And Bacon's isn't closing as rapidly as we thought at Andy, so I think Andy has the advantage now.
Bacon's stuck in a load of traffic. If you look back, many cars in front of him. This is going to be an uphill battle. Envision did not make a good decision, it looks like. They put him back into a load of cars. It's a complete hornet's nest here in the midfield.
So you have to remember, Andy also really shortcutted. So all this time could be a bit fake, but we'll have to see
Now, Play
after
Games is
another
in
stint.
from P3. Play Games is boxing.
Play Games is in, and I think
He
he'll
misses his
return
pit box.
around.
That's going to cost him some
Oh
time. He
no,
switches on to a new set of mediums, which means he will have to make another pit stop in this race.
he's just barely in the top 10, but no, he's just barely outside the top 10 now. Heading out the pits as
Play Games struggling all the way back to P11. He has a lot of ground to make up. The undercuts
look at
looking very strong so far in this race.
Look at Andy, he's in clean air. Now he's only 7.1 behind the leaders.
Now, what are Mark Anthony and Skilled Baconhead planning? Are they going to go for the one-stop strategy? We know that that's a very risky strategy to take, but with how long they've stayed out on this stint, it looks like it may be the only viable option left.
Baconhead is still losing time to Mark. The longer we go in the stint, as you can see, Andy's getting even more time, and Bacon is still stuck in that traffic. He's actually losing time to Andy because of it. Because Andy's in clean air, but Bacon's isn't. As Baconhead goes
Look
in,
at
Skilled
Bacon
Baconhead is in the pit.
for position. Skilled Baconhead is into the pits,
What tire will
and
he
he'll
go on?
switch on to a set of soft tires. It looks like he
So
will
Mark,
not be going for the one-stop. He'll have to extend that tire life for very long if he wants to make a one-stop strategy. Skilled Baconhead down to P10 behind Play Games, and it's another uphill battle for all these cars stuck in the midfield despite fresher rubber. Now Andy only 4.6 seconds behind Mark Anthony. Mark Anthony has extended this stint very long. Will he be able to push those tires any farther?
as you look, Play Games is now ahead of Skilled Baconhead. So that means Play Games gain about a second on Skilled Baconhead. So the undercut is working for a bit. And I think that's why
Very
Andy has gained
powerful the
so much
undercut
time on
is.
Bacon's.
Now,
Yeah,
three
Mark
and a
is
half seconds. The
losing a lot of
gap
time
between
now.
Andy and Mark Anthony. Mark losing more and more time. He'll probably end up about level with Andy heading into his pit window. So this possible one-stop could maybe work out for Mark. But for his
Bacon's
teammates,
actually
it has
gaining
gone
time.
horribly wrong. We've just heard Bacon's over the radio. He says he's stuck in traffic with all these expletive. Not say that on the show. We're family friendly here. Bacon's
Sort
very
of.
angry
Sort of.
with his team's strategy. Still stuck in traffic, fighting for currently P3.
And Andy is now almost within slipstream of Mark. Mark is really hanging on to those tires. I think he's gonna make it till halfway and then dip into the pits.
Mark Anthony absolutely pushing those tires to their limits.
We might have a puncture soon, not gonna lie.
Some of them call
For
him
Mark.
the tire whisperer, shades
The
of
tire
Sergio
what?
Perez.
The tire what?
Whisperer.
What's a
What'd you think I
whisper?
said?
Anyway, he's in. He's in.
It's an American
Mark
thing.
is
You wouldn't
in.
get it.
But I'm not American.
Now, Mark
This
Anthony in. Andy taking the lead. And we
I
saw
think
in
he'll
that
get
one stint
in.
alone, Andy made up over 20 seconds on Mark Anthony to get back up to the lead.
He's
Very
still going strong.
powerful the cut is. As Skilled Baconhead
I think
sets the
Bacon's is
fastest
getting
lap, the
Bacon's is getting
114.1.
time back on Andy. And now he's
Now
gonna
Bacon's
overtake. Bacon's gonna overtake Mian
still
for
fighting. He's
P2
trying to get
maybe.
past Meehan for P2. If Bacons can get into clear air, he may have a chance at catching Andy on those fresher tires. Now, man, Pifting. What has happened?
He's 40, P14.
Looks like he
He
made a
can't. I
mistake.
can't with this. He says,
He's made his second
and
pit
he's
stop,
qualified.
as well with Hazard and Kuhan. Man Pifting over the radio saying, I can't with this. Very odd radio communications at skill issue H71 Marcus Racing.
As Bacons is now within 6 seconds of Andy, the undercut that Andy made is now starting to see out its consequences. Bacons is now getting back time.
Meanwhile, Mark
Start
Anthony,
fifth.
already within 16 seconds of Andy, he's
Mian's
gaining
in.
loads of time,
Ben is in.
and Mian will be the first to jump on this second stop.
Also, we're
Now,
halfway through
getting
this
on a
race. We're
fresh
now in the
and
second
medium
half of this
tire.
race. I suggest we should have halfway stage breaks, in my opinion, because
Well,
it's
you
very
can
good.
put that up with the FRL race director, and we'll see what they
Yeah,
think
I
about it.
will. I will. I'll project my idea like it's like Shark
Shades
Tank.
of
Anyway,
the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing.
I wonder what that is. Anyway, Bacons is getting time back, but only by a bit and only by a couple of tenths, unlike Andy who gained pretty much seconds throughout
Now, you got to
laps.
remember, Andy is on the soft tires while Bacons is on the mediums, so Bacons will have a on this long run.
Yeah, but I think Andy's keeping strong on those slightly worn tires of his.
Remember,
He's now
Bacons could be
9 laps into a
conserving
stint.
his tires here. Bacon's maybe trying to save for the end of the stint to make a final push to catch Andy.
Oh, I think he gained a lot of time just then. About no,
Oh,
never
Andy's
mind.
in.
And he's in
Andy's into
again.
the pits.
Is he trying that
At the
three
halfway
stop?
point of this race, Andy boxes. Could we possibly see a three-stop strategy from skill issue H71 Margus Racing?
Oh, he missed his fit box by a bit, but it's still
Andy
not
switching onto
too.
the soft tires once again. And this promotes skilled Baconhead up to P2, Play Games into P3, and Mark Anthony into P4.
And Andy only rejoins in P7.
Andy back in traffic. He's stuck behind HD Miran Young. This is going to give him some dirty air, which could cost
Only
him
for a
loads
bit.
of time.
Only
But
for
Andy
a bit.
makes
Look,
quick
he's
work
already
of them.
overtaken them. Now,
Now
on the
Bacon's
first,
leading this Grand Prix.
we saw Andy gaining huge time in the first stint. Is that going to happen again? And will he even gain even more time on Bacon's? He still has to do the extra stop, remember? If he is going for the three stop. As we have some
Now
second
Bacon's
camera work
was the
coming
first
in.
to box of these top four, and every car behind him is gaining time, especially Andy on those new fresh soft tires.
He's already 7 seconds gained. Already 7 seconds gained. Actually, no, I think that's 2 seconds. Never mind, because he was 5.4 ahead of
I would
Bacons
be a
when
bit
Andy
concerned
pit.
if he gained 7 seconds in the lap there,
Yes,
Mr. Brundle.
I thought that too for a bit.
We have not seen many mistakes from Mitch Code Bacons this race, putting on one of his best performances of the season so far.
He is a race winner, remember, so he does have that proven skill so far this season.
Now, we see in the background of its Code Bacon, skilled Baconhead is nearly there. He's gaining time, the gap down to nearly 2 seconds. If he can get into that slipstream, we could have a lead battle here.
Very different strategy so far between the leaders. So Bacon's on the softs, now he's on the mediums, and Mark Stein on the mediums. I think he still is on the mediums. I'm not sure. And then he has had the wildest strategy of all. He really pit early on those medium tires, and now he's cutting it back with a doubles, with another soft stint.
If you're just joining us and you're a Sky Class or Sky Q member, you can press the red button on your remote control to get an onboard for all 14 of the drivers still in this Grand Prix.
You can also go on board with the Hyper, but all you see is a Pakistani flag, so it's not that good. I suggest you look at the other 14 drivers instead.
Now, Skilled
That's
Baconhead,
the
the gap down to 1.4.
as we have
He is
15 left to
closing
go in
very
this race.
quickly, and Andy is within 10 seconds of Hitchcock Bacon's in the lead.
And Skill Baconhead has gained time as well, 1.2 behind Bacon's now. He's catching rapidly because of the slipstream. Look at Mark as well. Bacon's is in hard trouble if he doesn't start getting time.
Skilled Baconhead, the gap still falling on that fresher rubber. However, he's on the soft tires, which means he will have a bigger tire fall off as this stint goes on. So Bacon's may end up having a small tire advantage the farther into this run we get.
And shout out to HD Mule who uses DNFs on these races. He's P6 at the moment, so this is
Now,
very
Mark
best finish he
Anthony
does. So
taking P3
yeah.
from Play Games, Envision Racing 1-3 at the moment. Mark Anthony closing very quickly.
Look at Bacon's leaping down the straight. He has to start closing on the slipstream because Baconhead is not too far away.
Skilled Baconhead under 6/10, about a half a second gap entering this corner as he close out sector 1. Now Gio into the pit lane from P12. And Gio puts on a new set of medium tires.
Also, a slight comeback from Man 50. He's still in P8 somehow. Yeah, after that dreadful mid part of the race. So Ed said he will score slightly more points than just ND currently, who
Now,
is
Skilled
in my
Baconhead
points, I
in
believe.
his McLaren, looking to fight the Envision Racing number 93, but he's into the barriers. A mistake
Yes, but
from
wait a
Skilled
minute.
Baconhead, and it buys Bacon's more time.
But look, the slipstream now down the straight. Baconhead will have the advantage.
Advantage to the 93, but here comes Skilled Baconhead. Right onto the bumper. They'll be side by side, entering the first corner.
Bacon's is saying, "Can I let Mark by?" I'm not sure what it means by that.
Bacon's on
Of
the
course, no
radio.
Mark
Dud
racing.
telling him no. The team boss wants them to be able to fight it out.
And Bacon has
Team
to give way
orders
to Baconhead.
still a penalty here in Formula Roblox. Quite controversially at that.
It's currently the Bacon and Bacon show.
Now Skilled Baconhead's pulling a gap to Bacon's. He made that overtake through the first few corners, and on that fresher tire, he's able to start pulling away.
And Mark is starting to lose a bit. The gap is stagnated, so he can't really gain.
Now
But let's
Mark is
see.
also on the soft
Getting
tires,
into
so he'll have very similar tire wear to Skilled Baconhead.
also play games is now maybe hampering Andy a bit with a dirty air. But there will be a move for P4 soon. Andy is right there on play games' tail. So we'll have
Mark
13 laps to go
Anthony,
on this Grand Prix,
gap
crossing the
down
line.
to below 2 seconds. He's got a 9/10 gap to his teammate in front of him, and Spakins will definitely try to give Mark Anthony a slipstream here to help him out in
Fight for
winning this race.
P4. Fight for P4. Look
Now,
at play games and Andy. They just swapped positions
Andy.
for a bit.
Oh no! Andy, what has happened? There's a big shunt.
And he's off the
Andy
track
is spun
again. Oh
around.
no, what?
He's into the wall
What?
again. What?
He
Andy,
says that.
oh no. He says he doesn't
What
know what's going
happened?
on. The team radioing to him. He cannot figure out what has just happened. And now
He
Mark
just said
Anthony.
him in the chat for Andy.
Oh no, Andy. And it looks
His
like it may
controller
have been
died.
a steering column malfunction that caused that. A big shunt from
Denny
Andy. He'll
Hamlin.
keep it going,
Denny
but he's
Hamlin
lost
reference.
loads of time. Andy down to P11. And now the race is
That
wide open. Mark Anthony now fighting for P2 with his teammate Bacons.
Bacon is struggling and Mark is now gaining. Baconhead is running away with this race. Could this be a career first victory for Baconhead as the Envision
With
cars
the
are
pace
battling
Mark
behind
Anthony
him?
showing, he may not keep the lead for long. Mark Anthony within 1 second of Skilled
Oh, Mark's a
Baconhead
bit
as he
wide.
passes his
Mark's
teammate.
lost a bit of time there. Oh no, he actually gained time, sorry.
Mark Anthony
Bacon is the one who lost
10th
time.
to the leader. They're weaving to try to break the slipstream, but it won't be enough to hold him back. Mark Anthony closing even more through the first sector.
And he's now having to do damage control to keep his championship as best as he can. Yo, c'est le jeu de la boue.
Mark Anthony right up to the rear diffuser of Skilled Baconhead. He has Dirty F through this sector. He may lose some time, but he'll have the advantage coming down the main straight. 2/10 is the
barely
gap. A
keeping
tenth
up.
and a half. Mark Anthony is there.
Can the
Baconhead is
Americans
nearly
take back the
wide, and
lead?
here comes Mark Anthony, two abreast, heading into Sector 2's chicane. And Mark Anthony pulls out the head on those fresh tires. Mark Anthony, the American, back to the lead.
And
Do you
Hyper
see
has been taking the
Baconhead
server.
nearly into the barrier, struggling on those soft tires? He may need to box very soon. And with Andy having a controller issue, which sent him to the back, this could give Mark Anthony the advantage, and Skilled Bacon heads into the pit lane.
Bacons goes in the well. Both the Bacons are in the pits.
Skilled Baconhead, we'll see what tire he switches onto. Currently on the softs, Bacon's currently on the mediums.
This will
Skilled
promote
Baconhead's
play games
putting
up
on
to
a new
P2.
set of softs, and it's called Bacon's onto the soft tire as well. Now, Hazard 71 also entering the pit lane from P8. HD Mira's in. Hazard puts on new soft tires, and HD Mira switching from the hards to a set of softs.
Play games again showing that his race pace is so good. He went from he was start P11 in this race, I think. Now he's up to P2, although even if it is not really P2 because two cars ahead of did pit just now. Look at the gaps now. Mark is just cruising away. 10 laps to go. He'll have to pit soon, I believe. Play games is on those medium tires, which I think means he also has to pit soon on fresh rubber. Will Mark come in now?
Mark Anthony staying out of the pit lane for another lap. He may be going for the one-stop strategy. We have not thought, but coming to this race that would have been viable. But Mark Anthony trying to make something happen. And now, with Andy's struggles, could this be what Mark Anthony needs to get back into the championship hunt with only 2 more rounds to go?
By the way, this is a crazy thing. Andy is now up to P8 even after that mistake. He's just behind Bacons. He's not going to give
Now, more
up, and he
cars
is
in
in
the
the
pit lane. Play Games is in. Man Pifting is in, and so is Andy. And Pifting's going on the soft tires. Play Games is going on the softs, and Andy takes another set of softs. It looks like for the final stint, everyone in the field looking for a fresh set of soft tires from Pirelli.
10 laps to go as Milo is now P2. Marin is P3. Of course, they haven't pit yet. And I think it just depends on Skilled Baconhead and Bacons if they can gain back the time. Also, I think when Mark will pit, he will be about 5 seconds back from these guys. So let's see. And Mark does come in. The final time is going to be a 10-lap shootout between Mark, Bacon, and Skilled Baconhead. And currently, Skilled Baconhead will have the advantage when Mark comes up the pits. He will be our leader, net leader.
Milo is the best, taking the lead provisionally, but
he is certainly the best.
Taking P2. Skilled Baconhead building the gap to Mark Anthony. And look at that undercut. Skilled Baconhead gaining 4 seconds in just a few laps. That's how strong the undercut is here.
But Mark is now on the fresh rubber. 8 laps to go.
Now on the radio,
doesn't have enough time to
Mian has
catch
been
up.
told to box this lap for soft tires. We'll see if he follows the team order. He currently sits P2. He wants to maintain his track position and go for a good finish. Skilled Baconhead, the provisional leader in P3, after Milo and Mian make their pit stops, as he closes in on Miannington to try to take P2 away. Bacon's right on his tail.
Getting some. Yeah, I think Baconhead is getting some dirty air from Mian. Kuan just
If
retired
you
from the
look at the
race.
track, Kuhan has retired from the race. According
Teammate
to
of
his team,
Mian, I
he's
believe.
lost. Kuhan has had a rear wing malfunction that has led to
Oh,
him
Mianton.
leading the race.
Kuan's teammate Mianton is in the pits. That makes Gil Baconhead
Yarnington is in,
the
Marlon is
leader.
in, and now the battle is open wide. Skilled Baconhead leads its Code Bacons with only 8 laps remaining in this Grand Prix.
And Bacon's
Mark
just
Anthony
clawed away
on
some
fresher
time
rubber.
there.
He's trying to close in. Andy setting the fastest lap of the
And the
race,
fastest lap.
1:14.1. However, he sits in
Oh, yeah.
P10 currently. It's going to be an uphill battle to try to get to this front.
I mean,
Now,
it's 30
Mark
seconds off,
Anthony.
mate. I don't know.
Now, it's Code Bacons. He knows Mark Anthony is fighting for the championship, and he wants to help his teammate. But we have to remember, it's Code Bacons is trying to get a win this season. Currently winless. He's put together some amazing drives, but he still wants to go for that first win this year. Will he let Mark Anthony by, or will he try to battle him and maybe compromise his championship season?
And Bacon's is now catching a bit on Baconhead Envision cars in 2-3. Will they try to make it a 1-2 from here?
Now, Mark
Let's
Anthony,
see.
2 seconds to the leader. He is closing rapidly.
1.6. That's
1.5 as they cross the line. 7 laps to go. They're weaving at the
and
front,
now
trying to
look at
break
the gap
slipstream.
diminishing. Look
Look
at the
at the
gap diminishing.
East Code Bacons is there into turn number 1. He makes a lunge, can't get there though. Mark Anthony
Oh,
is closing even more as they battle in front.
look at the time gain. Bacon's still in it, and so is Mark Anthony. Can Andy win it from 19 seconds back? Our current projections say he will overtake these guys in about 20 laps, but there are only 7 laps to go. And now, these final 7 laps will be very challenging for these guys. They cannot slip up. They cannot afford to slip up. And Skill Baconhead going for his first ever victory in FRLD1. There's going to be a lot of pressure on him. Bacon's already proven winner is now on his tail. The 3/10 remains between them, heading to 6 laps to go now. Bacon's will have the slipstream. Bacon will try to cover him off, try to weave down the straight. And Mark Anthony, look,
Now, and
he's
Mark
gonna gain
Anthony
even more time.
within 1 second of the leaders with only 6 laps remaining
And
in
Bacon's
this
is right
Grand
there,
Prix.
a
Oh,
tenth between
Gio's off
them.
the track in Sector 1. Gio having an issue, pulling to the right side. What has happened to Gio?
Puncture for Gio. Blue flags will be
Gio
waved.
says he has a puncture. As skilled Bacon had and Bacon's. Mark Anthony's wide. He's going to lose lots of time from that, but he's still staying in this fight.
Baconhead still has the advantage in this 38, Sector 3 and Sector 2 of that which remains. Bacon has to be on his very best
Now
to keep
Gio
up with him.
saying his front wing failed. He's had a front wing issue, and that caused that crash into the first turn.
Average Italian machinery anyway. And Skill Baconhead still is in the lead. And now the Mark will have the biggest slipstream heading down this straight. We will start 5 to go now. 5 laps between these three drivers. Threesome for the lead, as some Southern Vietnamese driver would say.
5 tenths separating P1 and P3. The two Envision drivers trying to catch Skilled Baconhead in his McLaren. Through turn 1, Baconhead taking a narrow line. Mark Anthony getting wide, and here he comes. Mark Anthony. And Skilled Baconhead
Oh,
has a
Bacon
corner
in
cut.
corner cut!
Skilled Baconhead with a mistake heading through
Mistake
that
here!
corner, wanting to abuse the track
Mistake!
limits. Skilled Baconhead makes his right front touch the grass a bit too far, and now it'll be a 1v1 duel between teammates in the Envision cars.
You said they cannot afford to slip up. Look what happened. Baconhead has
A
pretty much lost
crucial
this race.
mistake. Skilled Baconhead, that could cost him His first
But
Grand Prix
now it's an
victory.
America 1-2. America and Envy should 1-2. Bacon
United States of
versus Mark.
America showing its prowess on an international stage. And this is the true reason why IndyCar is better than Formula One.
This is great African American representation, or is that just something unrelated? I'm not sure. Anyway,
Now
Mark
the
is now
44, Mark
half second.
Anthony pulling away.
Half second up on Bacon's. It's not going to be enough, I don't think, for Bacon's, unless Mark
Now
has a
4
great
laps
fall
to
off of his
go.
tires.
Bacons will have slipstream, but remember, he's on older tires than his teammate. And Mark Anthony, fighting for a title, is going to give it everything.
I'm pretty sure Bacon's can't do anything about it. Mark will have to win this race to play the team
Bacon's
game.
closing through
Yes.
the first sector. Mark
Bacon's
Anthony
just on the
making a
track.
small mistake. And here
P4
comes
has
Phil Bacon
stopped the
ahead,
track.
and man pifting up into P4.
That's because
Man,
Bacon's just fallen down.
Play Games has had a connection issue. What has happened? We'll see if
Not
Play Games can get
again.
reconnected. Currently dropping down to P11 after that connection issue.
He's still
Meanwhile,
stuck on track.
the battle for the lead is still continuing. Bacon's right on the rear diffuser of Mark Anthony. However, Mark Anthony will be giving Bacon's dirty air through this sector, which is very crucial. And
I
Play
think he
Games
might
is out
lose
of
a
the
lot of
race.
time here.
Play Games
Play
with a
James!
connection issue.
He was
He's
so
out.
good in this race.
And this
Oh,
will be very crucial for the championship battle as it has promoted Andy up to P7. He's gaining more and more points on Mark Anthony as we speak.
and he has the fastest lap. Slight
That
slight
means
point to his
even more
right.
bonus points for Andy as we see Gio blue flags off the track once
And
again.
Bacon is out of a second from Mark. 3 laps to go. I think Mark can seal this win.
If Mark Anthony can put together a few more solid laps, he should be able to win this Grand Prix. We know Bacons will be very happy with this P2, but it'll be hard to not feel disappointment after
It's his
nearly
second
hitting
P2.
his first victory. It'll be another P2 for his code Bacons unless something massive happens in these closing laps.
Well, Mark, I don't think it's the type of driver to fail in these situations, so it will be very unexpected if he does make a corner cut or something like that. As Andy, I think there's been a problem. What happened? Why did Hyper say, "Oh, Andy"? And Andy, I don't know what's going on there.
Oh,
I think
Andy with a
it's some.
corner cuts, track limits,
Oh,
and
I see,
HD
I
Mirror
see.
and Hazard 71 are closing in on Andy.
Is this
If
going to be
Andy
a bit
loses these
a bit
two
of a point fall?
positions, because remember, Andy is only in P7. He's losing points to Mark Anthony. Now, if he falls down to P9, this could give Mark Anthony a huge gain in the championship and make this a real fight heading to the last few rounds of the season.
But Hazard and Edge team, I don't think Hazard will overtake Andy, so that makes him a maximum P8 for Andy. So I think HD Mio is the only threat, and I don't think he's getting that time back unless Andy makes in the corner cut. I don't think he's losing his position, so it looks like Andy secure in P7. Penultimate lap starts now as Mark is in sector 1.
Oh, Mark Anthony is wide through the first corner. Doesn't look like it'll matter with a 1.2 second gap. 2 laps to go. Bacons is closing,
As
but I don't think it'll be fast enough. Take that lead back
Bacon
away.
screams for help. Bacon screams for help. I think he's
Bacon is
struggling a
saying
bit.
over the
He only
radio
has 2
he
laps to
may be
go.
losing power. As we speak, Envision Racing says they may have an issue with the power
So,
units of the 93 car.
one of his cylinders has failed. One of his cylinders on the V6 has failed. It's now a 5-cylinder engine.
Now down onto a 5-cylinder engine for its code Bacons. Can he pull through? He only needs to make it 1.5 laps to stay in P2. And as we see Mark Anthony cruising to possibly another victory.
Bacon has less cylinders than
Now Mark
a
Anthony
Chevy pickup
through the
truck.
final corner. Mark Anthony crossing the line. White flag, 1 lap
White
to go.
flag.
Brought to you by Mystic Motors Incorporated.
America 1-2 into the white flag.
Envision Racing, an amazing showing. A disappointing qualifying, but an amazing race. Helped out by Andy having a mechanical issue midway through this race. Bacon struggling for engine power, but it looks like he'll be able to hold on to that P2. And Envision Racing looking for a 1-2, a return to glory as they cross Sector 1 for the final time.
This will be a huge swing in the championship as well. Remember, Mark has got the most points out of this
As
race.
it
Andy
stands, Mark Anthony is
losing
stood
so
to
much.
gain as much as 20 points on Andy.
I think that leaves Andy in a less secure place into the final few rounds, but it really depends
Remember,
on those
Andy
two
has a
rounds
very
at the
large
moment.
gap right now, nearly 50 points. But if Mark Anthony can put together a good race next week and Andy has more struggles, this championship could be wide open heading into the final two rounds. Now,
And
Mark Anthony
that
to
really,
the final corner for the final time. Mark Anthony, for the one of the many times this season, wins at Race Park Lauderhill. His teammate, It's Code Bacon's, the fellow American, takes P2.
America 1-2, America
Bacon had
1-2.
P3 and Milo fighting with Man Pifting across the line. Who's going to get it? And it looks like it'll be Milo, P4, Man Pifting P5. Meonington weaving down the front straightaway.
And the
P6,
championship
very solid
leader
run. And now Endy,
in
their
P10.
championship leader, struggles midway through this race. He falls down to P7. HD Mir takes P8 from Frown Hendrick Motorsports, and Hazard 71 takes P9. Young, P10, fighting with 16 Rise, and it looks like he'll be able to get it across the line. Young P9, 16 Rise P10, and Gio, in a very disappointing race with many mechanical issues, will finish P12, 2 laps down.
Yeah, 3 DNFs, by the way. Uh,
A very
really,
chaotic race, and it comes to a conclusion. Mark Anthony taking another victory to add to his collection. That 44 car has looked amazing this year, and now he's back into the championship fight. A 1-2 for Envision Racing. Amazing job.
as Gio does the Alan Kulwicki, the Polish lap, uh, goes around the track in celebration for his magnificent 1 point performance. He leads down as Gio wins the African Grand Prix.
Gio, what a race. What a job. Yes.
Amazing! He's
Yes.
done it! He's done it!
Marshala. Marshala. Yes.
Inshallah. Anyway, apart from that slight outburst and mental illness, we conclude today as Andy finishes P7 as the championship leader, and Mark wins the race uh, in pretty incredible fashion because Bacon's his teammate makes it Envision 1-2, and Skill Baconhead could have won this race, but he only got P